Want to update you now on this breaking news. We're following this severe storm weather that we're watching is getting very serious right now.
Right. Albert's been tracking this from the First Alert Weather Center. Albert, you're also actually hearing about water rescues.
Yeah, so this is turning into a dangerous situation. We're getting reports now of some water rescues. The rain is still falling with a slow moving thunderstorm. And just in the last couple of minutes, we got a report of over 4.5 inches of rainfall that fell near the United Center in 1 hour. So we're talking about 4.62 inches of rainfall that fell around the United Center in just the last hour. So we're going to spend a lot of time now on the radar. We usually go wall to wall during tornadic situations, but this is a dangerous situation in terms of flooding, and we'll put this into a looping mode, and we'll be keeping an eye on the latest information from the Weather Service as well. So water rescues, are getting reports of them ongoing right now at Western and Ogden, and also a secondary water rescue ongoing at Fullerton and Maple. And from experience, that is just going to be the beginning of additional water rescues are going to be ongoing. So right now, the worst of the weather is going to be downtown along the Ike to about the Austin neighborhood and even Oak Park. But you can see heavy rainfall is now right here up towards the north of downtown. So from the Gold Coast to Lakeview all the way to Edgewater, we're going to start to get some flooding issues here as well. Not as bad as what we think is ongoing right now near the Holman Square area, also places just off towards the east of Cicero. That's where we have the worst of the ongoing flooding right now. We'll take a look at those Doppler radar estimates in just a second. Let's start off with a wide perspective. So if you're watching us from the suburbs, you're going, what rain? This is an isolated, slow-moving downpour that's positioned itself right over central Cook County and really right over the city of Chicago, and it's not moving much. We are thinking between now and about 11:30 that the bulk of this rain is going to be out over Lake Michigan. So notice south suburbs and also places out here in northwest Indiana, we're in good shape. So all of our attention right now is the city of Chicago for a couple of issues here. We're going to have not just roads flooding, we got the water rescues going on, but basement flooding. We saw a similar situation to this 2 Julys ago. Remember, we had NASCAR Chicago. It was the first weekend just after the holiday weekend 2 years ago, and we had a tremendous amount of basement flooding on the south side of Chicago. Similar situation that we're seeing for tonight, and that went down as one of the most costliest weather disasters back in 2023 in the city of Chicago history. If there's any good news here, there is a downward trend in the reflectivity. So we're looking here at just the last 15 minutes. Notice 15 minutes ago, really heavy rainfall, lots of red, still pockets of red, but not nearly as heavy as it was just about 15 minutes ago. So let's do a little radar tour here, and we'll go neighborhood by neighborhood. Right now in the loop, we've got a steady rainfall. We've got ponding on the roadways right now in the loop, but nothing significant in terms of flooding. And then we get out here towards our friends watching out here around 290 in California, 290, and also places like Albany, North Lawndale, heavy downpours here. That's added up to 4.5 to even 5 inches of rainfall in just about an hour. And again, we have a ground report from right around the United Center, 4.62 inches that fell in the last hour. Then we get to Central Park and Moreland. There's the Austin neighborhood, heavy rainfall for you. So ponding on the roadway, all those big issues are ongoing right now. Let me show you some of the new data coming in. The models have really struggled picking this up. We were talking earlier in the day, our newscast, of the best chance of rain to the south of I-80, and notice the models are not doing a great job even picking up on this convection that's happening. These thunderstorms are happening over Chicago. But looking at the steering currents in the atmosphere, again, we think the heaviest action is going to begin to pull away from the city as we get closer to 11:30 and also midnight, and then we'll be quiet in the overnight, and then fog will be the issue as we head towards tomorrow morning. So recapping right now, we do have that flash flood warning. It's in effect for all of Chicago. Really the worst of it right along the Ike. The Kennedy, you're in good shape. We've got some heavy downpours around Logan Square, Humboldt Park, and again up here towards the north, there's no active warning for you anywhere from the Gold Coast to Lakeview, Edgewater area. We'll kind of overlay some streets here. There's Irving Park Road and Ashland. Heavy rainfall here, ponding on the roadway, but I don't have any reports just there when it comes to water rescues nor significant downpours that have been occurring. So that's a look at the Doppler radar. I want to bring in Joe and Erica at some point too, Michael, because see if they have anything going on. We'll kind of just bounce in between this because this is a significant weather event happening here in the most populated portion of our viewing area. And Joe and Erica, these roadways, they're going to start to get additional issues whenever we get to the collection of water, the flash flooding. The good news is at least it's starting a downward trend right now. Erica, Joe?
So we were wondering, But as we were watching this, is this affecting O'Hare, Midway? We were wondering about maybe airport stoppages, but you said this is really isolated to downtown. It doesn't go out that far?
It's not even raining anywhere near O'Hare, and the rain right now in Midway is light to moderate at the moment. So there you see the traffic again from the Kennedy. I don't think the airports are going to be impacted, but
okay.
it's the folks that are on the road right now that are really going to be impacted from the slow-moving storm. The forward speed is 15 miles or less, and what's happening is there's enough moisture in the atmosphere that the storm is actually back building, meaning that as the heavy stuff is right over downtown, it slowly moves off to the east at 15 miles per hour. It back builds to the west, and we haven't really seen a whole lot of movement of this big, massive rainfall move out over Lake Michigan. So also also that area that we're talking about up here towards the north, this does include the Kennedy, up here around Logan Square, places and not too far from Jefferson Park, and then up here towards the north, Lakeview area, Lincoln Park area, we now have a flood advisory. That is that first step to a flash flood warning. That's what we initially had for Chicago just about 45 minutes ago, and then the rain continued to be so heavy that the Weather Service did a great job of issuing that flash flood warning because of a tremendous amount of rain that has fallen. So I'm going to step out real quick because I want to show you another graphic here from the Weather Center, and what we're going to look at here, this is Doppler radar estimated rainfall totals, and this is what really caught our attention at around 9:45. There you go. Look at this, everybody. We're talking about 3 inches of rainfall that have fallen in downtown, but then you go down towards the south, right along the Dan Ryan, it goes to over 4.5 inches. And we were talking about these neighborhoods not too far from the Ike southward that have picked up as much as 6 inches of rainfall, according to Doppler radar. This is going to be around the Douglas Park area. This is going to be Homan Square. This is going to be Tri-Taylor. So to kind of get your bearing straight, we're talking about the western stop right on 290 all the way off towards the east to the Kinsey-Homan stop. That's kind of where the worst of the rain has been this evening, with, again, as much as 6 inches of rainfall. And it's not just going to be from the issues from being out on the roadway, but it's going to be flooded basements. Eric and Joe?
So Albert, you were mentioning earlier that it's moving through, it was stalling for a bit. We're actually looking right outside of our windows and we can see that it's tapered off just a little bit, but it still seems to be coming down at quite a steady pace. So for everyone, as you mentioned, out on the roads, definitely want to take your time and be very careful. As for the water rescues, Albert, you know, you were mentioning a couple of those locations. Kinsey and Ashland is another one that I'm hearing about. So as you mentioned, it looks like those will continue to be a concern for people out there. Whether they're driving or if they're even, you know, walking in some of these areas. So
we got Kinsey and Ashland, right? We also have water rescue ongoing at Western and Ogden, and then also Fulton and Maypole. Fulton and Maypole, also that's where we're getting reports of a water rescue. And you saw from our live vehicle out on the Kennedy Expressway, there's a lot of people out on the roadway, especially on the Kennedy with the construction ongoing there. So as they get off these major expressways, which we're hearing are in good shape right now, and they go into areas kind of like what our storm chasers doing right now. They exit off, and look at this. You got that little downward slope. That's where you can get that water to collect. The good news is, again, we are going to start to see a downward trend on the Doppler radar as we roll through the next hour. But we'll have lingering flash flooding issues probably till 1, 2 a.m. And you got to feel for the folks that may be already taking on water in their basements. That's going to be an issue that they're going to have to deal with for tomorrow morning. But for at least the morning commute, we're going to be mainly dry. And between now and the morning commute, a lot of this will recede and also disappear. Let's bring back Joe Donlin as well. Joe, you were talking about the airports, no delays, no any kind of ground stop because of that.
You can see the lightning in this shot from Scott Placco, our photojournalist out on the road in the Mobile Weather Lab. I'm curious too, Albert, you and I talked right before we went on the air at the top of the hour about how the models, and I know you touched on it a minute ago, hadn't sniffed this out, right? This popped up literally almost out of nowhere.
Right, and the other amazing thing about that is 24 hours ago, we were bone dry. We had dew point temperatures in the 50s, and the moisture came surging back. And there's really nothing in the atmosphere to kind of allow for this storm to move on out, nor is there anything in the atmosphere to really get widespread rain to get going. It is this little tiny little meso feature in the atmosphere that allowed for this isolated slow-moving thunderstorm right over Chicago, and that's causing these issues tonight. As much as 6 inches of rainfall has fallen in areas just out towards the west of downtown.